Welcome back to Bullet Basics. Today we're talking about gun ranges and how much does it cost. That tends to be one of the questions that people have initially more than anything, or one of the questions as they're getting ready to go, kind of an indicator, how much does it cost? And I used to wonder this when I was younger and didn't know and didn't go very often, is how much does that cost? Is it worth it? And so I'm going to break down those costs into kind of more digestible chunks. And so before we get into that though, our marketing team is coming. They're going to make the videos even better than they are now. And so we're waiting for them. They're on their way. All right, one of our marketing guys anyway. So let's break this down initially into indoor versus outdoor ranges. Specifically, that from my experience, outdoor ranges tend to be a little less expensive, though this is not a hard and fast rule, that's for sure. It really depends on the quality of the ranges. I actually used to go to an indoor range that was only a couple bucks, and so it really obviously isn't a hard and fast rule, but it was awesome. You could shoot pistols and I think some lower caliber rifles. I can't remember anyway, but I used to go to that range and it was an indoor range and it was cheap, whereas other indoor ranges maybe weren't more expensive. But generally speaking, outdoor ranges from what I've seen tend to be less expensive, and that might just be to the upkeep being higher in indoor ranges. A lot of indoor ranges are in places that you can't have an outdoor range, and therefore the real estate's higher because more people are there, all that kind of thing. And so indoor ranges can be, but aren't necessarily more expensive. Okay, so let's talk. I'm going to break it down from this point into different sections. So now let's talk about range costs, just generally speaking across the board. I'm going to break that down into 4 different chunks. So range costs really have to do with the location, the quality, the number of people, and then kind of the duration of pass. So if we're talking about the location, where the range is at, California or New York, ranges may be more expensive than Arizona or Wyoming, right? Because land just simply isn't as expensive there. And so it's much easier to charge lower prices. That's just, right, simple understanding of economics and things like that. Quality, not all gun ranges are created equally. Just as I mentioned before, I used to go to an indoor range that was really low quality, but some other indoor ranges may have dynamic targets that move as you're trying to do different things, and so the quality of the range is going to have a big impact on that, as well as the number of people, right? If you're bringing 3 or 4 people, depending on how many the range allows to be on one lane at a time, if you have 3 people, it may be less expensive than if you went just by yourself, or if you each bought a lane, right? You may be able to aggregate that and make it less expensive. And then obviously the duration of the pass. If you're buying a month-long pass that some ranges offer, or a year-long pass, it may be more expensive than just a day-long pass. In the long run, if you're going a lot, obviously buying a longer-term pass is going to be much better for you. So it all depends. So when looking at all those things, and more factors I'm sure, but those are the major ones, when looking at that, generally speaking, from what I've seen, to go to the range as far as range costs are concerned, anywhere from $5 to $20 for an hour, or a lot of the ranges do a day-long pass. Like you pay $15 and you can go for the entire day. It's not an hour-long thing. So it depends on the range, but that's what I see often is day-long passes, and it's about $10, $15, $20, and you're on the range. Obviously, that's not the only thing to consider though, because ammo cost is another one. So you gotta look at ammo, because especially depending on what you're shooting, some guns are just more expensive than others. It's just to shoot. Some you could be spending $1 a round or 50 cents a round, whereas other guns you could be spending 8 cents a round, 5 cents a round, 2 cents a round, depending on what the ammo is and the quality of the ammo and all that. So another huge and probably the biggest factor is ammo. What are you shooting? What's the caliber? How much does it cost? So if I'm using 9mm handgun ammo, for the example, just you wanted to shoot a couple of handguns and it's 9mm. Generally speaking, if you shoot a box or two, a box of ammo, let's say, is around $10. If you're shooting one box that's 50 rounds, then that's going to be an extra $10 that you're spending, or $20 if it's 2 boxes, or $30 if it's 3, right? So you need to factor that in. It's all about how much you're going to shoot and how much each ammo box is. But that's just an example of 9mm ammo that could the cost for that. So it really just depends on that how much you're wanting to shoot and what you're wanting to shoot. So at this point, right, range costs, let's say range costs are about $15, ammo cost is about $20, right? So you're nearing 30, 40, 50 bucks roughly to go shooting one time. Now it gets into, okay, are we renting guns? Are we not renting guns? If you're renting guns, that could be another additional 20 bucks. Are you getting shooting lessons? You're talking in the hundreds potentially for that. Hearing and eye protection that's usually included in the range package that you buy, that they'll have hearing and eye protection for you, but if not, that's going to be some cost for you as well. And then any targets you're going to buy from them. The ranges that I've gone to in the past mostly allow they give you a certain number of targets and you can shoot those and then buy more that tend to be really cheap. It's not a big cost at all. So our approximation, I guess I should say, is anywhere from $30 to $50 depending on what you decide to do, and it can be obviously much more expensive than that. I would say it's much closer to the $50 range if you're renting guns, if you're shooting range ammo. And that's one other thing to consider as you're looking at ammo costs. Buying ammo off the range at some other store tends to be less expensive than the range ammo, and that's just probably because of convenience. They're charging you more, and so look at that. If you're looking to go and spend some time at the range and have some fun, you may want to look online at Palmetto State Armory, who's running deals all the time, or Sportsman's Warehouse, or any of that, Cheaper Than Dirt. There's lots of websites that run good deals, especially around Black Friday and the holidays and stuff. You can get good deals on ammo, way cheaper than what you can get on the range for 12 bucks or 13 bucks for a box of 9mm, for example. And so that's something to keep in mind. Other than that, you're looking at about $30 to $50, maybe $60 depending on what you're doing, and it can go up from there. But it's well worth it if you want to get familiar with guns, how they work, and enjoy them. The cost can definitely come down from there if you go more often. As far as a per range visit, the cost will come down. And so if you have any questions, leave them down below. We'd love for you to subscribe. We'd love for you to like. Remember, let's show the YouTube algorithm that we deserve to be, gun channels that is, deserve to be on YouTube, because there's a thriving community, a thriving group of people that want to see these videos. So the way to do that, like the videos. Every gun video you see that gives any good content that's worth liking, definitely like it. Subscribe to them. Leave comments below, positive stuff. Let's support each other. And remember, bury the trolls. I always say bury the trolls, because there are trolls out there on the internet. Let's bury them with other comments and make sure that people can't even see them.